Today on the Topping Show, The View and Leftists have a major meltdown after the Trump victory. The Trump 2020 compared to 2024 election map appears to have 20 million Democrat votes simply just vanishing between the years. The Home Depot co-founder passes away, and Supermicro stock crashes about 26% after they failed to report their actual earnings and can't say when they actually will. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day, guys. He's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also giving away a free Flamethrower with every IT purchase. Go to toppingtechnologies.com to learn more. Lastly, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button to tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have some sad news. You have the Home Depot co-founder passing away. Now, this is straight from their good old X-Twitter post, as well as they have a little bit of the details here. They say, quote, remembering Bernie Marcus, they say, quote, the entire Home Depot family is deeply saddened by the death of our co-founder, Bernie Marcus. He's left us with an invaluable legacy and the backbone of our company, our values, and our culture. He will be tremendously missed. Now, a little disappointed in terms of not going viral on social media. It only got 376,000 views. I mean, and only 661 likes. Maybe 662. Oh, it did go to 63, going up before our eyes. And it sucks that they locked down this, so you actually can't reply. I understand maybe that's because he is more politically active. He was a big supporter of Donald Trump and other Republican candidates throughout the years. So maybe they're worried about backlash or people getting political in the comment section, but in terms of making contributions to society and revolutionizing retail for a mass, I mean, is one ADHD comment here really quick. One of my favorite books I read last year, I kind of went all into the retail industry in terms of reading founders' books. It's there you go, Built from Scratch. Again, this is Built from Scratch by Bernie Marcus and Arthur Blank, as well as it has a little forward by Bob Andelman. And this is one of my favorite books in terms of overcoming the odds. I mean, one was heartbreaking or one of the kind of pulls on the heartstrings the most in the book. They're struggling to find financing. He actually gets them in venture capital to really bolster the company, really take that big next step. And they spoke with their friends who he said he'd get the funding, and that friend was so determined because no one would give him a loan. That friend slept on the floor in front of the executive's office for weeks until the executive finally said, "Fine, I'll take the meeting and I'll fund you guys." And the true act of being humble, Bernie's friend who did that never told him. It was decades later, someone else said, maybe to comment at a party, and then they found out. That was one of the most heartfelt moments of the whole book. Because again, that one guy changed the whole course of history, his friend, to help him out. Now, going to the history of the Home Depot, again, it was one of the first big box stores, like a big box retailer for all your home hardware and all your home tools. Then later, subsequently, you had stuff like Lowe's knock it off and sell to women, which I'm really partially kidding. If you look at the demographics of who Home Depot sells for, Home Depot really concentrates on male figures to the household or men, as well as, well, obviously construction and contractors. Those are some biggest things that they sell to. Now, going to the Home Depot website, they got a little memoriam. They say, quote, the Home Depot is standard by the passing of our beloved founder, Bernie Marcus. To us, he was simply Bernie. Bernie was an inspiration in many ways. He was a master merchant and a genius with customer service. Together with Arthur Blank and Ken Langmuir, Bernie helped create a nation of doers who could tackle any project, large or small. He loved our customers. He also loved associates who made the company what it is today. More than anything, he deeply believed in the company's core values, particularly in giving back. He never lost sight of his humble roots, using his success not for fame or fortune, but to generously help others in business and in charity. Bernie was also unparalleled in generosity and goodwill. There you see a picture of the gentlemen working together, suited up as all men do. One of the old black and white pictures of them. It says, born to be an entrepreneur, and I'll actually just read the text off the screen here. I'll let you look at the nostalgia of him actually sitting over there. It says, son of a Russian Jewish immigrants, Bernie was born in 1929 and grew up in a tenement in Newark, New Jersey. He dreamed of becoming a doctor. When his family couldn't afford medical school, he enrolled in a pharmaceutical school, a pharmacy school, and received a degree from Rutgers University. Bernie said he'd often cut classes to sell Amana freezers door to door. After college, he worked his way up the corporate ladder at a manufacturing conglomerate, Odell's, and retail chain Vernado Inc. By 1972, Bernie was the chairman of the board and president of Handy Dan Improvement Centers Inc., a chain that was part of the Dalen conglomerate. While working for Dalen, Bernie formed a relationship with Arthur Blank that lasted the rest of his life. The watershed moment came in Bernie's career when he was fired from Handy Dan in April 1978, along with Arthur and Ron Brill. Bernie faced the prospect of reinventing himself at age 49. He had already had a vision of a one-stop shop for do-it-yourselfers, something that did not exist in home improvement retail landscape at the time. Investment banker Ken Langone helped secure the finance to get the Home Depot started, which Ken's got heart of gold, man. I mean, he really slipped outside the executive office for weeks until he finally got that meeting, got that funding for Bernie and the guys. They say the following year, the first Home Depot stores opened in Atlanta, beginning a remarkable journey. From the first store in 1979, Bernie and his fellow founders grew a business that created jobs worldwide, eventually employing more than 500,000 associates. They know that for the giving back, actually got a couple more pictures of the historical nostalgia of the Home Depot. In giving back, that was a big part of Bernie's upbringing. He said, quote, "My mother taught me to be generous. She also believed that the more you give, the more you get." Unquote. Bernie would practice a Jewish tradition of, not trying to butcher this, Tzedakah, Tzedakah, I think it's Tzedakah, throughout his life. In his book, Up Some Dust, Lessons on Thinking Big, Giving Back, and Doing It Yourself, he writes, "I was able to do things my parents could only dream about and focused on helping those I will never meet." Unquote. Over the years, he had an enormous influence on healthcare in Atlanta. With his wife, Billy, Bernie started the Marcus Institute, which today is the Marcus Autism Center, a not-for-profit subsidiary of Children's Center or Healthcare of Atlanta that treats more than 5,500 children with autism and related disorders a year. Bernie also helped create a Project Share in conjunction with the Shepherd Center in Atlanta, renowned for the treatment of brain and spinal injuries. To ensure that the members of the military and veterans get diagnosed and cared for without financial constraint, the Marcus Foundation underwrote the housing, transportation, and care cost of any military personnel with brain or spinal injuries who are sent to Shepherd. Bernie and Bill were inducted into the National Spinal Cord Injury Association Hall of Fame for their tireless efforts in this area. In 1999, Bernie, Arthur, and Ken started the Homer Fund to take care of Home Depot associates who suffer unexpected hardships. Contributions from associates to the Homer Fund perfectly demonstrate their value to taking care of our people. Since its founding, the Homer Fund has helped more than 194,000 employees. Bernie and Billy joined the Giving Pledge in 2010, a commitment to give away most of their money during their lifetime. Bernie wrote in a letter to Warren Buffett, saying, quote, "To make quarterly profit is one thing, but changing one life is so much better." Later, Bernie told Atlanta Journal-Constitution, quote, "I want to live to be 100 because I want to be I want to be in a position to give away the things that I really believe in." Unquote. Bernie and Billy also built the Georgia Aquarium, one of the largest aquariums in the world. The aquarium is a nonprofit venture for conservation and research. They dedicated it to the people of Georgia, the associates, customers, and shareholders of the Home Depot, as a way to saying thank you for making Home Depot a success. In Atlanta, his contributions included the Georgia Tech Marcus Center for Therapeutic Cell Characterization and Manufacturing, Grady Hospital's Marcus Trauma and Emergency Center, the Marcus Heart and Vascular Center at Piedmont Atlanta Hospital, as well as a grant contribution to the Construction Education Foundation of Georgia. Bernie's philanthropic work also can be continued by the Marcus Foundation, with a focus on Jewish causes, children, medical research, free enterprise, and the community. His commitment to excellent customer service, entrepreneurial spirit, giving back, and taking care of people lives in the associates of the Home Depot. To learn more about this foundation, you can click here, marcusfoundation.org. Which, yeah, now the only sad part is, and again, if you read the book, I can't recommend the book enough. And again, the book is called Built from Scratch, a phenomenal read on retail and really revolutionary idea. And one of the funny things is when they first were opening the very first store, and the whole idea is to be a warehouse. They didn't want to be pretty like the competition. They wanted to be like a workplace or men, that kind of thing. They actually had the situation where, like, the night before they were moving all the stuff in, they realized someone had actually polished the floor. And they were irate. They were pissed because they wanted to look perfect. Not only does it take extra cost and labor to actually keep it that way, but it wasn't the aesthetic of the store they wanted. They spent the whole night scuffing and ruining the floor just so they can get that authentic feel to the customers. And again, that's a very unique thing back then. Again, brilliant marketing. So I cannot recommend this book enough. And it's kind of sad reading a lot of these books. Last year, again, I read as many books as I could about major retailer founders, and that part is some of their visions kind of dies because in the book, one of the biggest things he really emphasized to employees is if you see a customer, you not run, you briskly walk towards them and say, "How can I assist you?" And again, this is anecdotal. There's about 4 to 5 Home Depots around me that I would patron throughout the years. And it only happened once or twice in terms of customer coming, or I was gonna say I was their customer in that case, in terms of an associate coming up to ask me for help. And shoot, I probably went to Home Depot 30 times and I was making, oh, this is a small one, but I made these 6 foot by 4 foot interview podcast tables in these. Here's an little mini one I have here. And yeah, I was constantly going there. And again, if you ask a associate for help, a majority of them were overwhelmingly polite and helpful. But it was a little sad to kind of see that they didn't have that spirit of, getting to the customer and help them, being Johnny on the spot as they used to be. So it was a little sad to kind of see that kind of just peter out, so to say. And hopefully they reinvigorate that. But yeah, I'm just gonna say, if you like to create stuff, I mean, Lord knows Home Depot is a great place to shop. And this happened a couple days ago. I really hope he got to see Trump win. Because Bernie, he was a big Trump supporter. He gave him a lot of, he did a lot of fundraising. He donated to him. And Lord knows that would have made him really happy. I mean, it's probably, and hopefully, again, it sounds like it was, peacefully, obviously old age. Hopefully it wasn't any painful. But yeah, a titan of retail. Sad to see another one rest in peace. And I want to obviously he's done so much good. So who knows? Maybe he's tuning in. Thanks, Bernie, for making a dent in the universe, and what a dent it was. Now going over to the Culture Pod podcast, you have The View having a meltdown from the Trump victory, which thankfully, of course, we're not going to watch the whole episode of The View. I mean, Lord knows we don't want to go insane. Now, this is perhaps one of the big, again, there's going to be many myriad of helpful things and great things to happen, as I believe, from Trump's second term in office, including, fixing the economy, the border, getting that energy independence so gas is cheap again. Now, there are some, what do you want to call these things? Bonuses? Or not really an Easter egg, so to say. A bonus prize, but yeah, having The View meltdown, that's certainly a fun bonus. Now, this thing comes to us thanks to End Wokeness on the good old X Twitter, which he says, quote, "The View, we must censor social media to prevent this from happening again." Which, yep. The only way you could win is by cheating, or if the only way your ideals could succeed is by squashing the other opposition ideals, that means your ideals are usually indefensible, if not also morally and mentally vacuous. Well, let's see what they attempt to say. Oh, okay here.
Think critically. Well, it would help if we could regulate social media, because one of the biggest offenders is D.C. and Congress have not been able to do one thing in regard to the rogue corporations of social media.
It's not going to get any better with Elon Musk now in the administration. I want to think critically.
I was going to clock as, more accurate would be moo sound, one of those moo sounds. That'd be a more accurate representation, in intellect and body on average. Only partially kidding. But yeah, that's all they want is mass censorship. And they have that, actually. It's called Facebook. It's called YouTube. It's one of the few vanguards of freedom is Elon Musk on X, as well as Rumble. And that's where you really get the freedom of speech. And yeah, you also, what was it? John Kerry? They said that the greatest threat to the government is the First Amendment. And it's just so fascinating how out in the open they are about being unpatriotic and un-American. They're pushing for censorship. Now, this went pretty well. Got 1.3 million views and 36,000 likes. Now, one of the first comments coming from the Hodge twins saying, quote, "They are the real fascists and they don't realize it," getting 5.3%, which, yeah, if they could look inside themselves and have some introspective, thoughts, they'd probably make a lot of changes in their life. I think that's above their pay grade. I also have Paul Zupa saying, quote, "Regulate social media. These aren't Americans. These women are Nazis," getting 757 likes. A rare instance of people on the right using that cliche term, which is seemed to have lost all meaning as so many people in politics have used it. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, "They're all commies," getting 3.4 thousand likes. Versus World says, "How about censoring The View instead?" Who's with me, getting 5.2 thousand likes. I'm not really for any censorship. I'm not sure why Chris is caring, because again, I'd love to know, statistically speaking, how many people watch The View, and not to just mock it or laugh at it, kind of WNBA, but how many people actually tune in to watch The View because they want to learn the content, and they actually want to, I was about to say learn something. You're not going to learn any really much, but how many people really tune in because they want to? it's in the single digits these days in terms of percentage. Now, scrolling down more and more, we have, what is this? Truth Patriot saying, bye, Felicia, free tacos, and then leave the country. It says the View in full meltdown mode over Trump's victory. Comedians gold mine. There's Whoopi Goldberg.
Some pundits are asking what the vice president could have done differently to break through with the voters. Of course, she only had 3 months to campaign, rally. She kicked his butt all over the country over the course of those 2 months. She did every debate, every interview. People kept saying they didn't know who she was, so then she told them who she was. So how much more could she have done? Or should she? I mean, aside from buck naked dancing on the top of the table, I don't know what else she could have done.
I don't think she could have done more. I think she left it all out on the field. I think she raised $1 billion in 3 months. I think that she she ran a flawless campaign, and I maintain that.
Flawless campaign? How dumb are these women? A flawless campaign? She lost! You can't run a flawless campaign and lose. By its very definition. It's ridiculous. Oh, gosh. The View. They're somehow still in business. Yeah, what could she have done? Well, done interviews where she didn't have I'm not sure if there's a book or pay grade, or she just lacks the mental intellect to do an interview without a teleprompter or those giant Volkswagen-sized earrings that look suspiciously like audio gear. But again, every interview she did is word salad. Kind of like leftists on social media, they never actually address the substance of the question. You just dodge it. I mean, the most heinously ridiculous thing ever was when Brett Baer asked her, past 3.5 years have been, what would you do differently in the past 3.5 years? And she just goes, well, Trump's running. What? Completely disconnected from rational thought or reality. I mean, I'm actually impressed she got 60+ million votes from people. Now, granted, those people are just saying vote blue no matter who. But I still think Kamala overperformed giving her actions. See, scrolling down more and more. Anti-left meme says the peaceful left showing their peaceful force. Yep. It's Bender from Futurama, only he's the wooden version. And he's labeled as leftist. He says, the whole world must learn of our peaceful ways by force. Getting 407 likes. Fight with memes, A+ for marketing. They did in fact respond in meme form. Says, quote, silencing your opponents sounds like a fascistic behavior, is it not? It's Jim from The Office pointing at the whiteboard. And says, how do you tell who's telling the truth? The ones trying to silence the other people are the ones lying. Getting 950 likes. Mark says, so basically it's the NPC guys that says free speech is dangerous unless the liberals control it. Getting 1.5 thousand likes. Dixon Man says, no lady, you lost all 3 branches of government. You aren't censoring a damn thing. A+, that's right. Getting 1.3 thousand likes. Planet Memes, F-. They did not in fact respond in a meme form or meme form. Says, who are the fascists again? Getting 2,000 likes. Let's see, you have Sideshow Bob. Oh no, that's actually Karine Jean-Pierre, White House Press Secretary. Nino America says, good riddance, says her, as well as Rachel Levine, which is the Vodka man who is in the military, is the head of something, and allegedly has a job doing something productive. I've never heard of anything this individual's done to help, though. That got 402 likes. American Subline says, who's with me? It says the View should be canceled, question mark, getting 386 likes, which I can't fathom how it's profitable. I almost joke there's a conspiracy theory of some major sexist guy that just pays to have the View on because it makes women look so mentally vacuous and bad. Again, there are beautiful, intelligent women all over the world. None of them are ever on the View. See, scrolling down more and more. By Holt says, I can't believe they're saying this crap out loud, getting 149 likes, which, oh, I do. I mean, Democrats have been saying it for the past couple of years. We see the government's been actually doing it as well. Scrolling down more and more. What's this? Not too many contrarian statements here. Another clip, maybe? So, let's see, what are these gals saying here?
I think if you look at the New York Times this morning, the headline was, America makes a perilous choice. I think that in 2016, we didn't know what we would get from a Trump administration, but we know now. And we know now that he will have almost unfettered power.
What do we know? Oh, yeah. No new wars, record low inflation, energy independence, secure border, booming businesses, and more money in our pocket. That's what we got.
And so I worry not about myself, actually. I don't worry about my station in life. I worry about the working class. I worry about my mother, a retired teacher.
Worries about the working class, but she wanted to elect a politician who destroyed the middle class.
I worry about our elderly and their Social Security and their Medicare. I worry about my children's future, especially my daughter, who now has less rights than I have. And I remember my father telling me many, many years ago that I was the first person in his family to enjoy full civil rights. And now I have less civil rights than I had when he told me that. So again,
You're talking about abortion? And again, that's a states' rights issue. So if she wants to, you can move to Minnesota and abort all the way up to day of birth, which some people do. But yeah, what rights did she lose again?
Profoundly disturbed that the 14th Amendment of the Constitution did not prevent someone who participated in an insurrection from becoming president of the United States.
Where the feds, what was it, Ray Epps and the police actually let people in the building and guided them? Yeah.
I think that going forward, the convicted felon box on employment applications better be taken off, because if you can be the president of the United States, then you should not be prevented from employment in this country. Because I remember applying for my jobs as a federal prosecutor, and there was a box for convicted felons. Well, and so that box better be taken off. And I think our healthcare system is now at risk. I think
no fluoride for anyone.
Yeah, economists have made clear that he's going to increase the debt by $7.75 trillion. I'm worried about mass deportation and internment camps, and I'm also worried about Elon Musk warning Americans to prepare for temporary hardship. I'm surprised at the result, but I'm not surprised. As a woman of color, I was so hopeful that a mixed-race woman married to a Jewish guy could be elected.
A Jewish guy who allegedly slapped his girlfriend so hard she turned around, pressured her to get an abortion, and cheated on the nanny? That's who the Democrats are saying is the new face of masculinity, Doug Emhoff, who, by all metrics, if those allegations are true, is a piece of shit. Pardon the French. That's ridiculous. And then I love how she can't say, well, she got 13 seconds. Maybe she'll give us great policies that she thinks Kamala was standing for that should have worked.
The president of this country. And I think...
You might surprise us with her brilliance.
That it had nothing to do with policy. I think this was a referendum of cultural resentment in this country.
Well, I think it...
They had a smart, intelligent woman in the Democrat Party. You pushed her out. You pushed Tulsi Gabbard out. You kicked her to the curb. And Tulsi wiped the floor with Kamala in 2020 during their primary, back when they pretended to have primaries. And it was almost comical how much more articulate Tulsi was. She actually had ideals, thoughts, opinions. And again, Kamala Harris flip-flopped on her policies so much you couldn't trust, well, you shouldn't trust her as far as you could throw her anyway, but she flip-flopped so much you didn't know what she stood for. She also hid away from interviews, only doing a couple with teleprompters, so she didn't go on Joe Rogan. I don't think she has the intellect or character to actually be on camera for 3 hours without an agenda or a script, or more accurately, a teleprompter, or those Volkswagen-sized earrings that look suspiciously like audio gear. And she's saying, oh yeah, people didn't choose her because of race color. I mean, during the Republican primary, one of the fastest and trending ones that was gaining steam and support was Vivek. This guy's from India. Republicans were giving him, I believe he peaked at 14% in the Republican primary. Yeah, it's because Kamala's had, of all the policies, the other few policies Kamala came out with, they were terrible. And their track record was even worse. But yeah, of course, they wanted to boil it, in true leftist fashion, they want to boil it down to demographics and sex. Ridiculous. I'm actually impressed that they're still in business. Somehow this is still broadcasted. Again, I would love to look at the finances of ABC. Like, do they really make a profit on that? I would be really shocked if they did. Let me know in the comments if you think they did or not. Again, scrolling down, not too many other contrarian, actually no contrarian comments here. John Justillo has a picture of Abraham Lincoln. It says, I haven't seen Democrats this mad since Republicans freed the slaves. Getting 9 likes. There. Someone has a picture of Donald Trump as his face in the sun. It says it's always darkest before the dawn. Got 7 likes there. So, yeah, The View. Somehow still culturally irrelevant. Some people still tune into that stuff. I'm almost flabbergasted that people do. But I don't know how many people are really that'd be a fun question for the comments. How many do you think are really influenced by The View? and they actually change their opinion about things, and how many people are actually educated by watching The View, or is it just used as, I want to say, well, I guess the Constitution says it forbids cruel and unusual punishment. Perhaps The View is used exclusively by CIA contractors in third world countries when they're torturing suspects. I mean, with the volume of business they do, that might be a conceivable way to keep The View afloat, fiscally speaking. I suspect that may be the number one use case for the content. I only partially jest, but let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, you have more leftists melting down, and it is ramping up. Although nothing is more iconic than the beanie gal and the, I don't know what kind of, it was like a neon vest. And she just broke down and cried saying, no, in mental child form when Trump won the first time around. And she cried in the mental intellect of a child. And yeah, we got 2.0. This comes to us thanks to Libs of TikTok, which she says, quote, the left really aren't taking this well. And there's a, what is this, a beta? I suppose you call him a beta male with shoulder-length hair, which I don't think he's in a rock band, so that's a little unusual, of course. He has some type of rudimentary sweatshirt and a funny-looking necklace. A little fun background information. Maybe wearing, I don't know, it's another red flag here. Anime, pictures of anime girl faces on pajama pants? And he's voluntarily putting this information out there. As we all know, true men always suit up. You always look your best. And he's putting this out on the internet where he's wearing a long sleeve shirt and sweatpants and a necklace. And then he's going to break down like a child. Spoiler alert. But maybe this is just maybe he was going to surprise us with some articulate reasons of why he thought Kamala Harris was a better candidate and why he was upset or irate. Maybe he won't have a total mental breakdown because he's so mentally unstable. Let's find out.
What the fuck? What the hell?
This is a really crappy dance too. So, in perfect 90 or what was it, 90-degree increments. So yelling, then goes 90 degrees, yells again, goes 90 degrees. Might use, maybe this is a new dance I didn't hear about. Might have to check the Urban Dictionary here. Oh, another red flag. He's got painted nails. Yeah, that's the biggest of red flags. You see a guy with painted nails? Yeah. I'm not saying you should be allowed in the room, allowed to be alone with children, but I'm just saying, you know, might want to keep an eye on him. Case in point, this guy's, well, this one more time. And this is, again, go, you know how to fix this guy? Go do some push-ups. Lift some weights. Read a book. Get tough. Get a job. I think blows my mind. He probably does have a job. Probably teaching liberal arts or something. Or a barista. Which, nothing wrong with that if you show up in a time to do a good job. But can't help but notice some demographics consistent with Starbucks baristas past couple years. One more time.
What the fuck? What the hell?
Now, perhaps his wife's boyfriend is just telling him to be upset. He doesn't really know what's going on. And then, yeah, was it a pink or purple painted fingernails? Definitely mentally unstable. Definitely needs to get out. As they say on them internets, touch grass. Which, if you're by a golf course, it's going to be quite pleasurable. Though it's kind of disappointing when you rent a house and you work really hard to take care of the grass. And you see it and you're like, that's nice, but I'm still renting this place, so it's not satisfying. Someday I hope to own a home one of these days. Now this pretty probably got about 770,000 views and 25,000 likes. The first comment comes from Gunther Eagleman, who says, quote, I can watch these videos all day. Ha, getting 766 likes. Let's see. Base Electrician says, this is the same reaction they give when the crust isn't removed from their sandwich, is getting 408 likes. Libercat Media TM has the iconic gal who broke in the, so it's a glasses, beanie, short hair, redundant, I know. And then like the neon construction looking jacket, although ironically I don't think they've ever done manual labor in their life. And she's the gal that broke down and cried when Trump won the first time. Got 50 likes for that. Let's see here. Roar, very unique name, I like it. ROR says, why do they record themselves having a meltdown and post it? Never understood this for clicks. How embarrassing, getting 1.2 thousand likes. I suppose it's for their social circle, like in terms of getting accolades, and they can all be like, oh, I'm so upset about this too. And maybe they get some kudos. I don't know if those candy bars exist anymore. Chris's World also says, someone get this kid testosterone ASAP, getting 687 likes, which, again, exercise and proper diet does help with that. So maybe he just needs a little bit of that. Scrolling down more and more. House of Trad says, FYI celebrities, you are irrelevant. There's a picture of all the leftist celebrities who praise Kamala. Which, yeah, I'm still waiting for an articulate reason or like 3 policies that have been great for our country. That's the reasons why to vote for her. Never did get those. They got 199 likes. Deep Blue Crypto says they're ecstatic, and it says liberals are ecstatic on Trump again. This is a compilation of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here, it's about 15 seconds. It's gonna be probably painful, but. Yeah, got 222 likes. Let's see, any contrarian statements here? Anyone sticking up for him? No, not too much. Just a big breakdown. Got an AI video of Trump playing guitar with a squirrel. See here. One more. Doodle Dad, and cover your ears there, children listening. It's a picture of a gentleman talking to a doctor. Doctor says, it says here, Trump hurt your feelings. I'm writing you a prescription for 2 testicles. And 30 likes. See here. So, yep, they are having breakdowns left and right. And, I don't know, hopefully they, get some emotional intelligence one of these days, or maybe learn something. But let me know in the comments how many of those people that are breaking down will actually maybe change their mind once the economy starts to pick up and the border's secure, and get rid of the illegals who are taking over places like Aurora, Colorado. Literally Venezuelan gangs taking over apartment complexes. Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going to the political part of the podcast, you have Trump winning 2020 compared to 2024. Huge gains in the Midwest and the East Coast. Basically none in California. Now, this comes to us thanks to Benny Johnson, who says, quote, they called us garbage, Nazis, fascist, irredeemable, insurrectionist. They sent us to prison for denied crimes, silenced our speech, and locked our families down. They impeached our candidate, charged him, raided him, and tried to kill him. They called us a threat to democracy. We said, middle finger to you. There you can see the file or the votes coming in at 277 for Trump electoral and 224 for Kamala Harris. Yeah, these are additional bullet points on the map of increases for more Republicans compared to 2020. Yeah, more Democrats. Interesting enough, in between Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia, there were more Democrat votes than last time, which, why? But, yeah, it's funny. Pretty much everything, Idaho, Utah got barely a little bit more. But, yeah, pretty much Idaho and East, it all went exponentially more for Trump, with the highest densities being in Kentucky, Georgia, as well as Tennessee, West Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina, and then, oddly enough, Delaware. Didn't see that one coming there. And Alaska and Hawaii are exactly the same, which makes sense. Not too many changes in terms of people moving there these days, I wouldn't think. And yeah, astronomical. That's why smart politicians don't insult the Midwest, especially calling us flyover states. Ridiculous. One of the dumbest things. Well, it's a long list. I'm not sure if you could say it's the top thing dumb thing Hillary Clinton's ever done. But yeah, that definitely didn't help her when she was trying to run for president. Though I should say it's just a coincidence there's about 20 to 28 people around Hillary Clinton who committed suicide, and she's a brilliant, intelligent woman, not at all corrupt. Just coincidentally, I just want to say I do not own any rope, and I plan to live a long life, and yeah, she's totally not corrupt or evil. Just want to throw that out there for the record. Now, this went pretty well. Got about 300,000 views and 13,000 likes. One of the first comments comes from Joe saying, in sanctioned Soros' cities, and it says, mass deport all illegals, getting 234 likes. Yeah, Shane Connor saying, let the revolution begin. It's a picture of Donald Trump and Elon Musk, AI generated in front of a flag, getting 190 likes. We also have Cat, who just knows there's 2 genders, say, quote, just stole this. Can't remember who pasted it and posted this meme first. It says, "Sleep well, middle finger. You've got a big day ahead of you tomorrow." Getting 148 likes. Here. Oh, another mentally deranged gal who dumped her boyfriend for voting for Trump, which, again, if you're a guy, one of the biggest demographics that the Democrat Party has alienated the past couple of years, especially, has been men. So pretty much that's one of the biggest demos they alienated, which was foolish. That's one of the reasons why Trump won. This is from Amit Shah parody account. Says liberal women have the most insane meltdown ever and dumps her boyfriend over the phone for voting for Trump. Which, yeah, those gals. I don't know if this is the wine or I don't know if the cat with the toxoplasmia or whatever. But yeah, a lot of mental breakdowns are very similar demographics.
Stupid fucking whore! So I'll just shut the fuck up! I'll just shut the fuck up for good now, huh? Yeah, you fucking want that? Yeah?
And right now,
We are fucking over, you fucking dumbass! I hope that you choke on a piece of concrete and literally go to hell.
Does she not know how, oh, I don't know if she does know a proper diet, but you do not eat concrete. So the odds of actually choking on it are not zero, but relatively small.
I will see you in fucking hell, you fucking asshole, you fucking liar, you fucking...
Almost kind of considered she's thinking about the relationship extending to the afterlife where they actually meet up back in hell.
Manipulator, you goddamn wish you would have played your cards right with me.
A witch? Does she not know anything? Even I'm not, a magic aficionado, but he'd be called a wizard. Or what was the other one? A Warlock? Something like that. He wouldn't be a witch. Those are women. Granted, she's also from the party that can't define what a man and a woman is. So.
You fucking asshole!
She sounds perpetually single to me. That got 78 likes. Which, yeah. I want to say she's undateable, but yeah. Look at how men and women are voting these days. Most men are voting for Trump. And yeah, I don't think she's going to get much dates anytime soon. We also have ex-citizen journal saying retributions, a picture of Trump pointing at the camera, getting 21 likes. Here. Another vote counter had Trump at 286, Harris at 226. There's that liberal, the gal who broke down. She's been turned into like a flower in a field, and it's a whole field of them crying while Trump is the sun. This is posted by Madiger, says those disgusting people absolutely deserve to lose. They got 39 likes. So yeah, one of the biggest, talk about gains in terms of that political map. Just exploding. Look at all that. Just a record. And again, this is the first time in 20 years where you actually have Republicans win the popular vote and the electoral vote. Again, Trump won. Again, these still have votes trickling in because of the ineptitudes of places like Maricopa County. But Trump's at 71 million votes and Kamala's at 66 million votes, according to this graph here, or info here. Which, yeah, that's unprecedented. Almost a quarter of a century, Republicans have not been able to do that. Which also, I think, shows how much the Democrats messed up this. It's not just Trump that's exceptional, which I do think he had some exceptional policies that helped him win. Also, great track record. But yeah, it's also because the Democrats just failed so epically. So yeah, I love infographics like that. So I was pretty interested to see that. Let me know what your thoughts are, feedback, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you had someone bring up the fact that 20 million Democrat voters just disappeared the past couple of years. This comes to us thanks to Benny Johnson. It says, quote, "Weird how 20 million Democrats just disappeared in a single election cycle from 2020 to 2024. Super duper strange, man. Joe Biden got 81 million votes. Kamala Harris got 60 million? Very sus." Yeah, I don't think anyone I really don't think anyone believes that Joe Biden got 81 million votes. Do you? Especially with this Delta. Yeah, this is a very similar situation. We've been basically Obama fourth term, but you have a track record. You have basically Trump versus DNC again, and again, a lot of those people say vote blue no matter who. I debate if it even matters who they prop up in there these days or they wheel in there. Do you think the election was stolen in 2020? Well, not just because of censorship and manipulation of the media, but also because actual ballots. That's a huge delta. You think a lot of people just didn't feel like voting this time? 21 million? Granted, people pass away. The numbers change all the time, but the U.S. population is growing as well. Now, this went pretty well. Again, 16.4 million views as well as 256,000 likes. Now, One of the first comments comes from Amuse saying, evidently Biden didn't let her use his voter fraud operation. What's Biden saying here?
Secondly, we're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our administration, the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
You got 4.3 thousand likes. Prime headline said, maybe people finally realized I'm speaking doesn't win elections, getting 234 likes. Arthur says Trump is the first ever president to win in 3 elections, getting 23,000 likes. Sandy says, way too many eyes on this election. Had Elon not bought Twitter, they would have done the same thing they did in 2020. Citizen journalism kept them in check, getting 10,000 likes, which, yet the proliferation of smartphones, for better or worse, the upside of that is everyone is an independent journalist these days. You got a cell phone in your pocket, you got the power to make a difference. Blaine Stewart says, Joe Biden stole 2020 and everyone knows it. Unfortunately, it will take decades to undo the damage done during his term, getting 8.3 thousand likes. Going down more and more, Dustin the Wind says, the Associated Press still not calling Wisconsin because it would give Trump 270 by their own metrics and it's absolutely hysterical. She would have to get almost every outstanding ballot in that state and still wouldn't call it. This is glorious how much they're melting down. Getting 3.7 thousand likes, which, yeah, I don't know how many weeks it's going to take for Arizona, that Maricopa County, to count their votes. The most woefully corrupt or inept county in the United States, which, in terms of marketing, I at least know they're a county in Arizona because of this, where they really, before 2020, because they had the same issue there. Again, 4 years, no improvement, public sector. But yeah, interesting enough, I know them for that reason now. Sadie Supadouge says, I'm a Democrat who voted for Trump. I think maybe we were the silent majority, getting 6.1 thousand likes, which, yeah, a lot of Democrats did go over to Trump. But again, the delta is still, was it 10 million? Even if you had that go from Kamala to Trump, it's still not all those votes are accounted for. I do agree some of that is. Yeah, Democrats have gone they've just become leftist. A lot of my friends who are Democrats, I mean, they went for Trump just because the things Democrats are pushing for these days are so radical. You have Dave Benner saying, quote, it may have something to do with Trump leads Nazi rallies. Trump supporters are garbage. Sex changes for prisoners. Censor users on social media. Endless aid to Ukraine. Men can get pregnant too. Yeah, those are the leftist mantras of the Democrats. Which, again, a lot of Republicans voted for the Ukraine aid too. Which, again, about $200 billion between arms and cash. $200 billion. What have we gotten out of that? I'm waiting to hear. Yeah, that got 2.8 thousand likes. Beth says, Biden never got 81 million votes. Everyone knows it, getting 5.3 thousand likes. Dave says, well, we know what happened. This time it was too big to rig, getting 2.8 thousand likes, which, yeah, if the election was within 1%, I think there'd be chaos. I think there'd be more suspicion, and I think, yeah, that big delta did help kind of have people more accepting of the results. And that being said, there's rumors there's trending that they're saying Kamala should 14th Amendment or usurp Biden so that she could technically become first female president, which, again, that's a thing you could do. I don't know if it's the accomplishment in terms of like what's your track record, but that's something they're talking about. Somebody named Renlo has a picture of Sasquatch with a t-shirt and it says, I am more believable than 81 million votes. Got 40 likes. Which, yeah, I think a lot of people, thank God for independent platforms like X Twitter, I think a lot of people are starting to question that more and more in terms of, again, 81 million votes for Biden, which, again, he definitely wasn't in. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who did not like Trump, so that inspired some people to get out the vote in that regard. But in terms of being an inspirational person to vote for, Biden was not it. I mean, Obama was much more charismatic, and I could see him generating buzz when he was going off when he was running. But Biden got more votes than Obama. To me, that's a big red flag. Like, he's not smarter. He's not more intellectual. He's not more charismatic. He's not more articulate. Not more relatable. And yet he got so much more votes than Biden. To me, than Obama. That to me was a big red flag, or I guess in this case we could call it a blue flag. But let me know. Do you think all those votes were fake, or did all those people just magically decide not to participate in the electoral duty anymore? Let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Super Micro stock crashed about 24%. when it turns out they can't actually give sales figures or say that when they could accurately report them, which is not good. Supermicro is basically the Walmart brand of servers, which is where the cloud magically lives. Remember, there's no such thing as the cloud, it's just someone else's computer. In this case, it's x86 architecture, or rack mount computer glorified, that you put all these types of applications on. Now, I say the Walmart brand because no one pays for the Supermicro logo. Not that there's anything wrong with the company, but they're known for being the off-brand server. The major server manufacturers traditionally would be like Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, Dell, as well as Lenovo. Those would be kind of the biggest players on average when you think about who has the greatest market share of servers in the data centers. Now, Supermicro, they're growing exponentially because they're basically the lowest price point. So that's why they are very attractive for a lot of purchasers. But now, well, they've had some scandals and their stock has crashed. I mean, I think it peaked about $1,000 per share. Because again, the AI boom, you need the servers. It's not just the graphics cards, the GPUs. They have to go somewhere, and they go into these servers, into the racks, into the data centers. Now, look at their stock. It's crashed. Again, this news is 24%, but look at the past month. It's crashed like a rock. And again, none of this is financial advice. Stocks are always 2020, and everyone wishes they bought NVIDIA stock years ago because, again, they shot up like a rocket. Now, in the past month, it's down 41.92%, currently trading for $22.77 per share. Now, going to quartz.com, they say, quote, Supermicro computer stock bleeds 24% after it can't even say when it will post actual earnings. Yeah. They say, quote, shares of the AI hardware maker hit a 52-week low after reported unaudited quarterly results because of an auditor quit. Yeah. Now, again, when you become these large companies, it's standard procedure. Again, publicly traded. It's not just your internal accounting department, signing off on things, but it's also third-party auditors to give, basically have oversight and signal to investors. It has a stamp of approval. And if you make a mistake, you go out of business, like Arthur Andersen being, I think, the other Enron's auditor. And again, that all it takes is one bad instance to discreetly demolish your reputation. Now, this article comes to us thanks to Vinmarata Chaturvedi, who's a writer over there. Here you can see the iconic Supermicro logo. Diving into the article, they say, quote, Supermicro Computer Inc. shares plummeted more than 24% after the AI hardware company released a disappointing preliminary first quarter report. Now, it's funny, they say the AI hardware manufacturer. This basically, not to talk smack about servers, and again, they are important, but I always like to tell people, in terms of a metaphor, it's kind of like the frame and body of a car. And I would say like something like Intel or AMD is a processor or the engine of the car. And debatably, you could maybe say the hybrid engine, or you could say maybe the hybrid engine or the electric engine in it, and the transmission could be correlated maybe to the GPU or the graphics card, something to that effect. So again, they're making an important part of it, but in terms of overall architecture, it is one of the more simpler components. Not that engineering isn't important, and they have some exceptional employees over there, but I think it's funny they keep saying it's an AI hardware company, which again it is, but let's not get carried away here. They say, quote, they released a disappointing preliminary first quarter reports and failed to confirm a timeline for its actual first quarter results, which, again, that's what makes or breaks companies, especially when they're publicly traded. If they're going to buy and sell that stock based on those news, and people want to know when those sales are in. And now they're saying, oh yeah, well, no one will actually have a third party confirm this, which is pretty rudimentary to say the least. They say the San Jose-based company, which missed the deadline for filing its annual report, is also facing a potential NASDAQ delisting, which, yeah, when you're not, they're definitely not stable like they used to be. And once you have some of these unscrupulous activities, that's when they also start to take that magnifying glass and examine the company. Should you be here? They say, quote, the company reported unaudited quarterly results on Tuesday after the market closed, leading to a sharp sell-off. This development follows a recent resignation of its auditor, Ernst & Young, or EY, as most people call them on the streets. Well, Wall Street, not the, Sesame Street. Say, quote, which departed last week, citing disagreements over Supermicro's governance practices and board independence. The stock traded near $21, marking a fresh 52-week low compared to its March peak of $123. Prices plunged 82%, erasing $55 billion in value, just gone. For the quarter ending in September 30, Supermicro reported net sales between $5.9 billion and $6 billion, falling short of the analyst expectations with forecasted $6.45 billion. Company's forecast for December quarter also fell short of expectations. Its projected revenue between $5.5 billion to $6.1 billion, which is below the consensus estimates of analysts at $6.86 billion. Additionally, Supermicro expects adjusted earnings per share to range from 56 cents to 65 cents, while analysts had anticipated 83 cents per share. Ooh, that's rough. Now they say the company has no mention of Ernst & Young's departure, but they noted that they are looking for a new auditor. And this is confirmed by Charles Liang, who is the CEO. They said it's important to note that the company has not reported the audited finances since May, which, again, right now you're trusting the company, which, again, these days, these large companies, I was going to say most often, every time when you're a large publicly traded company, you have third-party auditors to give it a stamp of approval. And obviously, not just do that, you actually look over the documents and confirm it as well. That gives a signal to Wall Street and all the investors that, hey, we've green stamped or a green light and rubber stamp this documentation to confirm it's authentic. Oh, geez. Now let's talk about Supermicro has close ties to NVIDIA. The company makes hardware that supports AI applications. Again, the NVIDIA graphics cards go into the Supermicro rack mount server. They said they thrived during the past year because the AI, and it entered the Fortune 500 at number 498 as a key partner and reseller of NVIDIA's GPUs and components. Supermicro integrates technologies into servers that support AI workloads. We also know that Supermicro CEO Charles Liang and NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang are both Taiwanese immigrants and have a long-standing relationship. So they're hoping that'll help. But again, the fact that, again, it's the big red flag for investors losing your auditor and not having another one Johnny on the spot, which, again, that's very hard to win that trust. And I mean, obviously that's why the stock is failing. It's not just sales. Don't get me wrong. Missing sales as it's and expectations, that does cause the stock decrease. I would say maybe 10 or 12%. It's hard to ballpark. It does depend on how much you lose. But the fact that they lost their auditor and they still don't have a new one, to me, that's the bigger issue right now. That's causing some people to lose so much confidence in Supermicro. Like I gotta say, the fact that Supermicro, not just missed their sales, but the fact that they lost their auditor, they still don't have a new one. I gotta say, Supermicro, that is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.